This video is walking you guys through your first essay assignment, which is going to be an argument essay. This essay does not require outside research. It's just a sort of exploration of your skills with argumentation. So the prompt for this is pretty simple. You're going to create an argument essay with a clearly stated position on an issue of your choosing and support that argument with solid and relevant evidence. Now, like I said, this does not require research. The evidence in this case is just going to be your logical reasoning. You get to choose your topic, but it is going to be subject to instructor approval, and there is a reason for this. One, I want to make sure that you are on the right track to be successful in your first essay. And two, in the second essay, you're actually going to keep the same topic and the same stance, and you're going to expand on it with research, certain research. So I know what the expectations of that essay is, so I know whether or not the topic you choose will work with what those expectations are. So that is why your topic is subject to approval. Now, the important thing here is that you understand there's two parts to this. So one is that you have to choose a topic, so a broad topic. This could be something like voting rights or abortion or growth hormones in animals, or really anything kind of that nature. You could talk about whether or not a COVID vaccine should be required for people who work in an office, or something like that. What you need to do then, after you have your broad sort of topic, is define your stance. Now, you will have to choose one side or the other on this issue. Even if you don't know exactly what you believe, you have to pick one side or the other. And that's because you're really showing your skills with argumentation and your ability to prove your arguments. So if you choose, say, for example, that you want to do growth hormones in animals and beef, you might argue that we should allow growth hormones in beef, or we shouldn't. If you choose something like legalizing marijuana, you should argue that we should legalize marijuana on a national scale, or we should not legalize marijuana on a national scale. So it needs to be a very clear stance. And like I said, it does need to be something that is arguable. So what I need you guys to think about carefully is don't choose something that is a qualitative argument. So sometimes I have students who want to argue that LeBron is the greatest of all time. He might very well be. Maybe it's MJ. I don't know. But that is not an arguable claim. That's not something you can ultimately prove, because it's an opinion. No matter how much you argue about it, it will always be an opinion, because best or greatest is a qualitative state. So you need to choose something where you can prove your stance. I've had students write about really a myriad of many different things, but you should choose something that's of interest to you, that you don't mind spending the next two essays really writing on. So just as an example, things that have been argued is whether or not college athletes should get paid, whether or not we should have paid paternity leave on a national level, whether or not we should have stricter gun control laws, whatever you want to think about. I want to make sure that you're really thinking about the details of that as well. So if you are, for example, going to argue that we should legalize marijuana, there's a lot of questions about what that means. Does that mean you believe we should legalize it on a state level? Do you believe we should legalize it only as medical marijuana? Do you believe we should legalize it as on a national level for recreational use? There's a lot of details to think about. So in your thesis statement, you want to make sure it's very clear what those details are. So you're not just arguing, say, for example, that we should legalize marijuana. Your thesis statement would need to be something like, we should legalize marijuana, medical marijuana on a national level, up to X ounces. That would be a very clear and argumentative thesis statement that has a clear topic and a claim. A topic and a stance. So again, think carefully. Think about something that is of interest to you, but something that is arguable and has a clear stance, and something you don't mind spending the next 2 essays on. And I will say one thing to keep in mind: your second essay is going to require a sort of in-person interview, whether that's via phone or email or whatever it might be. But you do need to talk to a person in that field or a subject matter expert who can speak about the issue. So that might be a professor, it might be a doctor, it might be a lawyer, it might be, somebody who is in one of those fields, but you do need to think about that. So choose something where you can find someone in that field to talk to for the second essay. So this first essay, like I said, does not require research. It is minimum 2.5 pages. You can go up to 3.5, 4 pages. That's fine. You can always go over, just don't go under. If you go under, you'll have points taken away. But it's 2.5 page minimum, due on Sunday, June 20th at 11:59 p.m. Mla formatting is required, so that means 1-inch margins all around, a header in the top left corner with your name, the course, section number, the date, and my name. A title is required, page numbers in the top right, and then 12-point double-spaced Times New Roman, Cambria, Arial, or Calibri font. All assignments will be checked for plagiarism. Note, again, the minimum page number. Like I said, your topic proposal has to be approved, which will be something you'll do specifically. If it's approved, I will leave it in the comment section. If it's not approved, I will also leave something in the comment section, and I will email you and ask you to revise your topic proposal via email. Once approved, you can go ahead and start working on the next assignment. Your essay does need to have all the general parts of an essay, so an intro, body paragraphs with main ideas, and good support from logical reasoning, your evidence in this case, and a conclusion. Your intro should have a thesis claim, so that's where you state, I believe we should do X on this topic in this stance. 3 reasons, and then 3 opposing views of refutation. Now, basically what this means is that when you write an argument, you want to make sure that you are considering other points of view. So if you, again, are going to argue that we should legalize marijuana on a national level, not everybody's going to agree with you. And maybe no matter how many rational arguments you make, there will be people who say, no, that is whatever, that is a dangerous drug, right? It causes, it causes all kinds of crime to happen or something like that. What you need to do is acknowledge that there are people who have other views, and you acknowledge those views, but then you need to disprove them. You need to say, however, my argument is correct because blah, 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 blah. So just as a simplified example, you might argue that, for example, I don't know, kale is the healthiest vegetable. And you might say kale is the healthiest vegetable. Someone else might say, no, it's squash. And you would say, now, I understand other people believe squash is better for you because it has certain vitamins. And then you would say, however, and then you would disprove that and say, however, a recent study showed that kale has 3 times as many vitamins as any other vegetable. Therefore, it is the healthiest. So you're basically offering an understanding that there is another view out there, but ultimately you want to disprove that and show why it's incorrect, because if you do just simply acknowledge that there are other views, it might actually undercut your own argument if you don't disprove it. So the final submission requirements, you will have an outline that is going to be, again, part of your essay grade. So you're actually going to submit this as an assignment, so you won't have to do anything with this. When you go into submit on the essay link, submission link, the only thing you'll need to upload is a Word doc version of your first essay. So that is going to be, like I said, it has to be a Word doc. It can't be pages, it can't be text file, it can't be PDF. And that is because some of those files don't render on screen, and I leave comments directly on the essay for you, and I want to make sure that you can see direct comments, so that's why a Word doc is required. And like I said, this outline will actually be, I believe it's maybe 20%, it could be 15, but I believe it's 20% of your first essay grade. So the goal there is to get you a boost of basically free 20 points on your first essay grade, as long as you complete the outline. So definitely make sure that you're completing that assignment, and then that will help just add extra points, essentially boost your grade for your first essay. And in here I also included an example for you, an example outline that just shows you kind of how to identify the topic and the claim, the reasons, the counter arguments, and the refutations. But just as an example here of what a good topic is, the broad topic is laptops in the classroom, and the claim with the stance is that the instructors should not be allowed to ban the use of laptops in the classroom. Now, obviously, this is not something we would normally do anyways, but it has a clear topic and a clear stance identified. So that's the claim. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, go ahead and move on to your next assignment.